and blessed Sabbath, friends. I don't think we're here. Am I by myself, alone in this world? Good afternoon and blessed Sabbath, friends. Okay, now I feel much better knowing that I'm not here by myself. Though I love to talk, and I love to talk with people, not alone. I'm not at that point yet. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to eat balanced meals. This is a very, very important topic because it happens that many people do many transitions in different diets and things like that, but they don't necessarily do it right. And then we get people getting sick. We have people getting sick, and they say, but this diet is healthy. Why am I getting sick? Okay, today we're going to be answering that question, and hopefully it will be easy to understand, and if not, of course, we can always have questions. So, I think I do like to have my hands kind of I'm attached here. Now, we're going to be talking about eating balance. Now, why do you think it's important to eat balanced meals? Any idea why it has crossed your mind, why it's good to eat balance? Yes, ma'am?
Different foods have different nutrients in them.
I love it. Yes, exactly. That's a very good answer. Yes, back there. I love it. So now we're talking about health issues, right? If I don't eat balance, then I'm going to face some health issues. And those, yes? So you don't get bored. That's very good, right? It's important. Okay, so those points are very important. Now, there is something that goes deeper than that. And today, we're going to set the foundation for that. And the foundation in that is found in 1 Corinthians 10:31. That really tells us the reason of why we should eat balanced and healthy. Not to, when you're healthy, you feel great, you can jump, you can run, you can do several activities. When you're sick, that's not the case, right? So yeah, for our own good, we want to feel good. But now let's go deeper than that. And what does the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 10:31? Can you all read it together? So, eat or drink or you do it of God. Did you reason what you just read? Whether I eat or I drink or whatever decision I take regarding any aspect in my life, I need to make sure that I'm bringing glory to my Creator and to my Redeemer. Why is that? Well, because the Bible also tells me in 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 that my body doesn't belong to myself, but it has been bought at a very high price, right? So it's a temple of the Holy Spirit. And for that reason, I really want to make sure that I'm eating healthy, that I'm eating balanced, because number one, I want to make sure that I'm glorifying God with the decisions that I take. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. It says temperance. In order to preserve health, temperance in some things is necessary, right? No, in all things is necessary. Temperance in labor, temperance in eating and drinking. Okay? So we may be working for the Lord and we may be completely intemperate, right? So God is telling us through the spirit of prophecy, make sure that you're being temperate in everything that you do, even in eating, which is the topic that we're going to be talking today, okay? Now I have this fun boy here, right? So yes, today we're going to be focusing about nutrition. But we need to understand something that is related to the quotes and the Bible verses that we just read, and is that nutrition is one or is part of the 8 natural remedies, but it's not by itself, right? Health do not depend only on nutrition. Did you know that you can be eating perfectly well, But if you are missing on the other aspects, guess what? Diseases still may come your way because they do not go by themselves. They all relate to each other. So if we are eating perfect but we are not resting, guess what? We are developing in a long run, we're going to be developing chronic inflammation. If we are eating perfect but we are not exercising, we're losing the benefits of the nutrition that we are having. And guess what? At some point, if we continue not exercising, at some point, we are not developing this amazing circulation in our body, perfect health, perfect circulation, or vice versa, right? So at some point, we are going to develop chronic inflammation. And let's talk about some of these things. Before we get there, importance of right habits. Great care should be taken to form right habits of eating and drinking. The food eaten should be that which will make the best blood. You can kind of really see it well, but the best blood. What does the Bible says about the blood in the flesh? Is the life, right? So the best food eaten should be that which will make the best blood. The delicate organs of digestion should be respected, okay? Now, I'm not here to motivate you to be vegan. I'm not interested in that topic. Why do you think I'm saying this? Any idea why I'm not interested in you to become vegan or just about that topic? Any idea? No? Well, okay, because veganism doesn't necessarily mean being healthy. And I'm interested in you to be healthy. That's why I'm here today. That's what I love to do, helping people to be healthy. So why I'm not saying that veganism motivates you necessarily to be healthy? Because, it is mainly a movement, right? Let's take care of the animals. And it's very sad that many times they care more, they have more, or they care more for the animals than for themselves. Why do I say this? Because if I'm not putting in my mouth the right food, it's not going to create the best blood, and guess what? Disease is going to come out of that. And I love to watch, YouTube videos on vegan cooking and things like that. And guess what I see a lot? A lot of refined, fried food. Everything is vegan, okay? So what do you see there? Is that potatoes? Yeah, deliciously poisonous stuff, right? That's how I like to call it, right? So now, vegan means no animal product present at all in my meal, okay? So that's what vegetarian, now we need to have notes, vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, paleo, whatever, and carnivore, and all of these diets, right? What does it mean? So veganism, like French fries, they are vegan because the oils that they use, I think, is vegetable oils, and that is potatoes. Now, let me give you a very hard exam right now. Let's see if you will pass. Is French fries healthy? Are they healthy? Right? If you beg them, we are talking about French fry. We are trying to rescue the French fries and make them saint and holy. I love it. Okay. So, all of us know that that is not healthy, but that's vegan, right? Oreo cookies, they are also vegan. Did you know? Are they healthy? No. So now let's talk about what I really want to motivate you to become, and that is to adopt and embrace a whole food plant-based diet. Why is that? Well, because I'm interested in you of getting your health back or just to preserve your health, and that is eliminating as much as we can chronic inflammation. Why is that? Well, because chronic inflammation is the foundation for me to struggle or to suffer with chronic diseases. And I have learned, this is very tiny, I'm so sorry. I have learned that chronic diseases are the result of breaking God's laws of health that are right there. Oh, you cannot see it because of this? Yeah? Ta-da! And there was light. Okay. Sorry about that. God's laws of health. So actually, if you do some research and you, I'm going back, sorry. If you do some research and you write, in a long term, not drinking enough water, will I suffer from chronic inflammation? The answer, guess what is going to be? Yes. If in the long run I'm not sleeping enough, if in the long run I'm not resting, if in the long run I'm not drinking, all of these things, guess what? Chronic inflammation, right? So yes, chronic diseases are the results of breaking God's laws. Now remember that I'm motivating you to be or embrace a whole food plant-based diet. Let's say, why is this? Well, we have a whole grain here, right? And then we have these layers. We are seeing the 3 layers of the bran, the endosperm, right? And the germ. So what is this one? This is the endosperm, right? And then we have what? We have the bran here. And then these tiny parts here that is called the germ. Now, why I'm interested you in become plant-based? Well, because we are seeing here that a grain, by the way, this is a grain, right? Is made out of 3 layers. We have the outer layer, which is called the bran. Basically, this means fiber, okay? So this is the fiber here. And then we have what this grain is mainly made of, and this is called the endosperm. Any idea how we can translate that to? I think I heard exactly, right? So equals to starch. This is fiber, right? And then the germ is translating to vitamins, minerals, protein. Yes. If you are very concerned that you will become deficient in protein in a plant-based diet, I have good news for you. That will not be the case, okay? You will have all the protein that you need in the amount that you need it when you are eating a healthy, balanced, plant-based diet. Because lettuce, guess what? Has protein as well. Guess what? Bananas, they also have protein. I mean, what else? Broccoli, I don't know, kale, right? Every single food that God intended for us to eat mainly has carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Yes, lettuce also has fat, even though it's not the lettuce job to supply the fat that you are needing, okay? The job is avocados, nuts and seeds, things like that. But the point that I want to make is that our Heavenly Father, He created us and He designed the food that He knew we needed. And do you think He made a mistake when He gave us this diet? So we shouldn't be afraid of go back to creation and find out what was the diet that my Creator, your Creator, intended for us to eat. So every single food that God created for us is packed with carbohydrates, protein, fats, also vitamins and minerals, just that the different groups have specific jobs to supply more of what you are needing. Is that making sense? So what happens with refined foods, and probably you have heard doctors or even, dietitians to say, please be afraid of carbohydrates. They are the pure evil. You will get a lot of diseases if you eat carbohydrates, okay? Yeah. So I don't agree with that. Well, kind of. If you are telling me that we are talking about highly refined carbohydrates, then yes. Why is that? Because now we're helping God. And God, you were not thinking very well, so you added all of these layers in the grain that is so hard. People have to chew too much. Let's help you a little bit. Let's improve God's diet, right? So let's eliminate the bran because this one makes me chew too much. And now, guess what? In that refining process, I'm also eliminating mainly most, if not all, of the protein and minerals that this grain is giving me. And what do I end up with? The pure starch. When fiber, we're going to talk about that soon, later, but fiber basically is like this security guard in the gut that says, glucose, where are you going too quickly? to the bloodstream? No, 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 no. Things are organized here. You just cooperate with the rest of the foods that is taking and digestion that is taking care here, right? So fiber cannot go so quickly to the bloodstream, meaning that it will not impact your glucose in the blood, right? So that's the problem when it comes to carbohydrates, and people are so afraid about carbohydrates. Please don't be if you're following God's directions, okay? Because actually our brains need a lot of glucose, right? So don't be afraid of that. Now, very simple, we are going to be talking about 3 food categories and 3 simple principles that we can apply for us to be able to eat a healthy and balanced meal. So the 3 food categories are regulators, energetics, and constructors. Now, any idea of what foods help us to regulate things in our body? This homeostasis, this beautiful homeostasis. Any idea? What food groups will help me to regulate things in my body? Any idea? Okay, let's and Pastor Dennis cannot talk, okay. No, let's start easy. What are the foods that we're aware of that build muscles, that build things in our body? Protein. Good answer. You have 35% of the grade. What are the foods that give us a lot of energy? Sugars are mainly carbohydrates, right? So yes, good answer. So we are having protein. We are having carbohydrates. What are we missing here? Okay, that's very smart. Yes, we are missing fats, and fats are part of the macronutrients, yes. And we're going to put fats just to kind of summarize things in one of those food categories. And beside fats, what else are we missing? Fiber mainly coming from what? Yes, exactly. So we are missing our fruits and vegetables. So he's going to be our nutritionist in this church, so you can just refer to him if you have any question, okay? So now let's translate that. We already talked about it. Now let's have some examples, right? So we have fruits and vegetables. We don't need to clarify that. Now when it comes to energetics, there are several food groups. Let's translate that into foods now. Where is my carbohydrate going to come from? Grains, right? So you name them. Many people don't even know that amaranth, millet, buckwheat exist. Teff. Have you ever heard of these, or have you ever tried them? Yes, some of us have, right? So you're going to see the point of why I put a list. Of course, I couldn't put all of the grains there, right? But it's good for you to notice that there is more than whole wheat bread. Hopefully it's whole wheat and not white bread. And oatmeal for breakfast, okay? And rice for lunch. There are other grains that God intended for us to eat. And our main source of protein is going to come from what? In a plant-based diet, where is our protein mainly going to come from? Beans, nuts, and seeds, okay? So now we're seeing beans, nuts, and seeds. Nuts and seeds are very high in protein, but they are higher in what? In fats, okay? Yes. So the 3 simple principles are going to be the following. Principle number 1, I want at least half of my plate to be raw fruits or vegetables. Actually, I'm not going to put it in the board. You will see it very soon. Why half of my plate I want it to be raw fruits or vegetables? We are going to be talking about the benefits. Now, some of you already have mentioned fiber, and you're going to notice that fiber is going to be the principal character, or the main character of the movie that we have been talking today about healthy meals, okay? Fiber, keep that word in mind. But yes, this one is packed with fiber, though all of the plant-based food is packed with fiber. But also it is packed with vitamins, minerals, but also it is packed with phytochemicals. And very soon we're going to be talking about that. And that is why it's extremely essential that we make half of our plate raw fruits or vegetables. Principle number 2 is that I want to balance, because now we are having a plate, right? are having a plate here. So we are saying that this should be raw, right? Fruits or vegetables. And now we are saying or and not and because in this sinful world that we live in, many of us have been struggling with digestive issues, okay? And because we may have a weaker digestive system, when we combine fruits and vegetables, we may experience bloatiness, discomfort in our stomach, gasiness, all of that, right? Because fruits tend to digest quicker compared to vegetables, and it can create like a celebration in there. So that's why we do not mix them. But there are some people that they just have a very good digestive system, and they can just be creative and make a salad, beautiful veggie salad with some fruits in it, and everything is fine, okay? So, but that's the reason why we say and, or, and not and. And then we're going to divide our plate, the other half, in half. So 1/4 of my plate, I want it to be carbs, and the other half of my plate, I want it to make it protein, okay? And I'm saying there that a portion is half a cup. Now, meals or my food, when I eat, it's not supposed to be a math problem, okay? Oh, am I having enough? This half a cup, maybe. No, right? This is just a principle. This is just a visual idea for you to balance your meals, right? And remember, these are principles. You're going to apply it according to your physical need. If you have a very sedentary job, you're always in an office, and you eat a lot of food, guess what's going to happen to you? Yes, and guess what? You're going to have a beautiful pregnant belly, right? Because there is no way that you will be, burning those calories because you're sitting all day long and you are not, physically active, right? Now, if you're very active, you need to make sure that that you are eating plenty. And we are going to be talking about what is mush, we're going to be talking about that soon. So the third principle is how much I'm going to be eating. So let's say that this triangle is going to be telling me, where am I going to place breakfast, lunch, or supper? And as the answer is there, breakfast means that it's in the bigger column, well, whatever you call that, in the bottom, right? And that means that's what I need to eat the most. And over again, I see that what we do the most is that our main meal of the day is at what time? Can you help me? Evening, right? That's the right answer. Now, we have been trained wrong. It's a cultural thing. It doesn't matter where you are from. This is a worldwide thing, right? Because we see people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, I could say, and dinner is a special time. Because dinner is where family gather together, right? So, we have the most important meal at that time, but we should not. We should change that because our bodies work with metabolism, and it's in the morning where our body is more efficient. Metabolism is the ability our body has to burn energy, right? So if, as the day is passing by, our metabolism is like, I'm slowing down. Don't bring me a lot of food. I'm not up to that right now, right? And at night, where metabolism is really like going to sleep, but you present this huge, and the metabolism is like, what is this? Now I need to work a lot, right? So make sure that we're eating our main meal, breakfast, meal in the morning, and as we are, the days passing by, we are eliminating a little bit of portion, quantity. Now, for supper, usually we recommend people to avoid eating supper. Why is that? Any idea why we recommend? Have you ever heard of intermittent fasting? Now, as far as you have seen or known, usually when is the time that people break the fast? In the morning at what time? Or the morning? Usually people, what I've seen is that they break the fast at lunchtime. They do not eat breakfast, and then they have a good lunch, and then a bigger meal. And I'm like, so what is the point for us to eat a big meal and then go to sleep. Like, people do it because they want to lose weight and things like that, and I had a guest that said, this thing didn't work because I was in this intermittent fasting and I've just been gaining weight. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why, right? Why is that? What is the reason for us to eat? Because we need energy. My question is, at 7 p.m., do we need to have a lot of energy? No, we actually don't need to have energy so we can go to sleep, right? So do you understand? Is it making sense? We are bringing this huge amount of food that our body's expected to use, but we're going to sleep. So, right? So we recommend guests to just eat breakfast and lunch and skip supper. But in case they do need to have supper, then we just make it small, something simple, and it's very fun. I'm sorry. But I really have fun on Monday when they call me for supper. I was really expecting supper. And they brought me kind of a snack. And I'm like, yes! I'm sorry, it's funny for me because I know, but I'm sorry. But yeah, right, because supper, woo, a big meal, right? But it's supposed to be something simple, small, and guess what food category we are eliminating there? From fruits or vegetables, from regulators, protein, and carbohydrate, which food group do you think we're eliminating for supper? Is the protein. Because protein takes longer to digest. So we do something very simple, very quickly to digest. Still, our carbohydrates comes from complex carbohydrates. So that's it. By 9, it will be gone. It will be out of the system, okay? If you have any questions, you can be taking notes, and then at the end we can have those answered, okay? Now let's be talking about phytochemicals, because I said that it's extremely important for us to make sure that we are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. And it says at least half of your plate. And at least means what? That's the minimum, right? Meaning that you can have more, right? So why I'm so excited to promote, make sure that at least half of your plate is full with raw fruits or vegetables, because they are packed with phytochemicals. And phytochemicals have many amazing jobs in the body, but I'm going to mention 5 of them. And one of them is that it helps us to fight chronic inflammation. Another thing that phytochemicals help us to do is that it helps to strengthen our immune system. But another thing that phytochemicals help us in our body is that in case it helps us to repair our DNA. And you may ask, is that possible? That our DNA may be damaged? Well, with the things that today we're calling food, it may be a possibility. But God knew that we were going to be living in this kind of time where humans are getting so creative and they are helping God so much in improving his food, that he knew that these things were going to happen. And he put phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables to help us repair that DNA in case it has been damaged. And something very amazing that phytochemicals do as well is that it helps to slow cancer cells from growing. Isn't that amazing? Isn't our Father in heaven so loving and so merciful and so caring? So it is extremely important for us to prioritize raw fruits and vegetables. And what we do at the lifestyle is that, for breakfast, it's fine. People don't really struggle much with eating fruits. When it comes to vegetables, people don't eat vegetables. It's very sad. It's like salad is like they don't know what that means. They don't know if the word salad is coming from a tree. It's like a cloud. People don't eat salad, right? So no wonders why we are seeing so many sick people. So that's why we are recommending so much. And for lunchtime, guess what we do? We only put salad for lunch for the first 15, 20 minutes. So they eat their salad, right? And then they learn along the way. And something else that we give to our guests is some extra helpers that we call the extra anti-inflammatory food. And those are turmeric and ginger, this amazing team that it has amazing and high anti-inflammatory properties. And flaxseed and chia, which they are very high in what? In omega-3, right? And the beautiful thing with omega-3s is that they help our cells. They have many, many benefits in our system, right? But one of the amazing things is that it helps our cells to be flexible. When our cells are flexible, guess what happens with it? Toxins can get out of the cells, and then nutrients can get into the cell. And actually, you are getting your nutrients into the cell then. So it is just amazing. And of course, we have to add garlic, fresh garlic there, because of the amazing anti-inflammatory properties that have. It's a natural antibiotic. It's a cancer fighter. Just make sure that you're having that in your diet every day. So, of course, one of the things that we want to recommend you is to make sure that you're having a variety of different meals in your diet, but that variety, that rainbow, should be split in different days, right? Why am I saying this? Because if we're trying to have like 12 different kind of vegetables, like salad, in one plate, that's amazing. I mean, that's good. The only problem is that you're not going to be getting a lot of that specific nutrient, for example, that cabbage has. Because you're having cabbage, broccoli, kale, you're having lettuce, and you're having tomatoes, and then you're having, and then you're getting some nutrients, but you're not getting enough nutrients, or, for example, what cabbage wants to offer you, right? So if we make a rainbow and we split it throughout the week, then we'll be able to get a lot of nutrients. Is this part making sense? So let's say that you're getting 4 options, right, in your salad. You're having, for example, it's amazing, it's important always to have a cruciferous vegetable. Any idea what cruciferous vegetables are? Broccoli? Brussels, okay, what else? Bok choy, radish, cauliflower, cabbage, right, kale. So you got it. So it's extremely important to make sure that you're having cruciferous vegetables every single day, because those, guess what? Those help you to fight cancer as well. So what I love about nutrition and what I do is that I love to help people to prevent diseases. Of course, we help people, reversing the disease, but isn't it better to prevent it? And you prevent it through a lifestyle. That's why I don't like to call it diet. I like to call it lifestyle, not only for nutrition, but for any of the 8 natural remedies. So let's continue. Now, how much do I eat? Well, it depends on what your goal is or what your need is. Do I need to gain weight? Well, my plate, I'm always going to refer to my plate. But let's say that I'm going to continue having half of my plate, but then I'm going to make some changes here. For example, if I want to gain weight, or if I'm losing muscle mass, then what I do is that I will eat more protein and then carb. Why is that? I'm still going to get my carbohydrates, because beans get what? Guess what? They are high in carbohydrate. They are high in protein, but they are also high in carbohydrates. So I still will get it. So I will make, for example, 2 portions, like 1 cup of protein, whatever, beans or whatever, and then like half cup of, my carbohydrates. You just kind of play with it. That's why, we don't say this is what you have to do, all of you. No, we need to personalize things. The same thing if you're pregnant or things like that. If you want to lose weight, then we keep this, right? But then I usually like to ask the guests, make sure that you're eating a lot of raw, meaning I would go 75 raw and 35, I believe it is, cooked, or 80-20, 80% raw, because these ones are not going to make you gain weight. They will sustain you, they will nurture you, but it's going to help you lose weight, and then you will have like a 20% of your cooked food, right? So you can, have something cooked there. But raw fruits and vegetables are going to really help you to lose weight as well, and it's going to bring a lot of nutrients to your body. Oh, you can barely see that. And this is in Spanish because I couldn't find the one in English. but you're going to learn Spanish today. That's okay, okay? So you see, this is an amazing lecture here. So basically, this is just to help you visualize kind of what we just talked about, okay? I think this one is in English. It's not that you can see better, but kind of, right? So you got the point, right? On how it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's have some examples here. And of course, you will use your creativity here, right? I want to make sure that I'm having my fruits. Now, you're seeing here 3 options of fruits. My question is, do we always have to have 3 options of fruits? The answer is no, we don't, right? Now, let's say that I want to have only one fruit. Now, I need to go to my principle. What does my principle says? Half of my plate should be raw, right? So let's say that I just want to have one option of fruits, then guess what I'll do? I'm going to choose blueberries because I love blueberries. And actually, blueberries is one of the best friends for diabetics because that's the other thing. People with diabetes are so afraid of eating fruits. It's like, it's the enemy, right? And I'm bringing you good news. Berries are one of the best friends for diabetics. Berries are one of the best friends for people that struggle with cancer or with any disease, okay? So if I'm going to only have berries, guess what? I'm going to fill my plate, my portion with berries, okay? But these are just some ideas. You can have some oatmeal. You can have some baked tofu. I'm translating the pictures for you because probably you have no idea what those are. So, by the way, these options, you can have it very quickly. Because if you make your own waffles, you put them in the freezer, and you're in a hurry, you will still be able to eat balanced because you already made a preparation before. So you have your oatmeal, your nut butter. If you're in a hurry, you still can eat balanced and healthy, right? So there are just some ideas for breakfast. Again, these are so quick ideas, okay? Just a toast, and then to that one, you can add avocado. And then the heavens will open, right? So it's extremely delicious when you have a hummus toast and avocados on top. Amazing. Okay, some lunch ideas. This is more like a Hispanic lunch. So you can have some corn tortillas and beans and some of the delicious vegetables that God created. Some black rice, some stir fry with soybeans, and some of the isn't this beautiful and colorful? I love it. And, some stew, some bean stew, some baked sweet potatoes, and your beautiful salad, right? So these are just some ideas on how you can make your plate and still be eating delicious and healthy. Now we are going to really quickly transition into another important topic. Because we talked about a whole food plant-based diet helps you to fight chronic inflammation. How is this possible? Or how does this happen? And remember that I told you the importance of fiber? Okay. So, who are the army of our bodies? And which ones are those? Translate that. The white blood cells, right? So those are the army of our body. Now, we will need to ask them. They are so cute and they have different forms and yeah. So we will go and have the microscope and we will check that. So did you know, this is something very important. Did you know that our God is really responsible, is very responsible for the health of our immune system? How is that happening? Now we are going to translate this, right? Let's go in this beautiful journey of getting a healthy immune system. And we put it in this smiley, happy train, okay? I love colors, so yeah. Now, let's imagine that the engine of the train is our gut cells, okay? And our gut cells, they look kind of like this. is something like this, right? That they all just work together. They are tight. They work as a team. And as long as they're working as a team and that they have been fed, everything is good and our immune system is good. It's healthy. But our gut cells depend on something. They need to be nurtured. How do they get nurtured? Well, we are seeing that the first wagon here, it says short-chain fatty acids. So our gut cells have been fed or are fed through short-chain fatty acids. If I don't have these short-chain fatty acids, guess what? My gut cells will be weak and they will not be able to fulfill or accomplish their duty, that is to protect our bloodstream from being infected or having bacteria and things like that. Now, something produces these short-chain fatty acids, and that is called our healthy gut bacteria. Many people ask me, well, I'm taking this prebiotic and probiotic because I'm really struggling with my digestive system, all of that. Well, I hate pills. If I take them, it's almost like I'm forced to it, right? I avoid as much as I can, and I love to get my prebiotics through the food that I'm eating. And you are seeing here that our healthy gut bacteria mainly are probiotics. Not all of them, but mainly they are probiotics that have been fed by something here. And it's called? Amen. So I told you that fiber was going to be the main character of this movie, of tonight's topic. And why is that? Because if I'm not eating enough fiber, guess what's going to happen? I'm not producing or creating these healthy gut bacteria that are going to produce the short-chain fatty acids that at the end is going to help me to have a healthy, strong immune system. So guess what? Now we know this, but people really struggle eating plenty of fiber, right? If you go to McDonald's, you will see that there is a big line many times. If you go to all of these, fast foods, you will see many people there. And I'm sure they have a lot of fiber in the meals that they give, right? So, we're going to any of these places. We're not having really fruits. We're not having really vegetables. And guess what's happening? We are not feeding our gut cells, right? They are becoming weak. Guess what? We are going to this place that didn't use proper hygiene. And I ate a food that kind of was, And guess what? I got sick of my stomach, but because I'm not eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, these friends are becoming weak. And guess what? I'm extremely nervous. I'm still not eating fruits and vegetables, and I'm so nervous something is coming up, and I'm, eating my nails and all the delicious nutrients that they give us, right? All the vitamins and minerals through our fingers. And then guess what? Bacteria came in, because I don't know where we put our hands before that, right? And because we're not eating fruits and vegetables that give me a lot of fiber, guess what started happening? This security guard is losing the battle. And now because they are not so close anymore, now they are open, now bacteria are coming into our bloodstream. When bacteria comes to our bloodstream or anything that is not supposed to be there, guess who comes to the rescue? The white blood cells that we need to find out, right? We are going to go to the... Guess who comes to the rescue? The army of the body, right? And they come, they say, some intruder here, I'm going to fight this enemy. And they come, they fight, and all is good. But we're still not eating healthy, we're still not feeding the gut cells, and guess what? More bacteria keeps coming, more things keep coming to our bloodstream, and guess who keeps coming to the rescue? The white blood cells. Now let me ask you something. What happens to an army that is constantly fighting and there is no rest? Gets weakened. And what happens to the battle? It loses the battle. right? And when that's happening, then inflammation, chronic inflammation starts occurring. Do you see how everything connects? Fiber is so responsible for me to be able to have a healthy and strong immune system. Because if there is no fiber in my system, my gut cells will not be fed. I remember, I'm going to embarrass myself here. I remember one day I was coming late for church, something that I'm working on it, okay? So, I have my cell phone. I have, this thing, these strings in it. I don't know how it happened. I was late for church, so I parked, and then I am getting out of the car, okay? And for some reason, this thing got in the middle of the brake, So I'm grabbing, that's how you call it, the brake thing. And then I'm getting out. I'm connected to this thing, and guess what? It pulled me. So guess what happened? I fall. But it was Sabbath. So if you ever fall on Sabbath, it will always be with style, right? So I fall, and I'm like, oh, I hope no one saw me, By God's grace, it was winter, and I was having a legging, and, I'm like, I can't wait to go to the bathroom and see how bad is it. So I saw there was some blood in there. It wasn't that crazy, but, as the days were passing by, well, very quickly, guess what started happening? There was a swelling in it, and then there was some pus, right? And basically, that pus, it told me that there were the white blood cells that gave their life for me. So dramatic, right? So basically, that's what happens, right? The white blood cells comes to the rescue, and they do their job. But while they are fixing the problem, inflammation is occurring. Now, we have, I don't remember if I put this here. No, I didn't. We have two kinds of inflammations. We have acute and we have chronic. What does acute inflammation is? It's quickly, right? It takes between hours to few little days, right? Now, chronic inflammation is what? It's something that takes weeks, months, years, right? And when that is not been taken care of, then diseases happened, right? So I'm saying here, barely we can see it, that there are two kinds of fiber as well, and that is soluble and is insoluble. Now, soluble fiber dissolves in water, right? And when it dissolves in water, it makes you feel full longer. Have you seen these people going to restaurants or to fast food, and they eat this huge amount of food, and guess what happens after 2 hours? They're so hungry. I'm like, how is that possible? You ate this huge amount of food. It was so empty. It was missing so much nutrients. There was no fiber present in it. There was no soluble fiber present in it that, of course, they just digested so quickly, and they are hungry again, and they are gaining weight, but they doesn't feel satisfied. So soluble fiber in my food helps me to feel full longer because it dissolves and creates this gel-like texture, making me feel full. Okay? Now, the insoluble fiber do not dissolve in water, but instead, it pulls water into my intestines. Guess what? Helping us have an extremely amazing experience when we visit the bathroom. Isn't that amazing? So many people struggle with constipation, and the answer is here, water and exercise. As simple as that, right? So yes, fiber also helps me to be able to have a good bowel movement. And this is the end. I have other slides, but actually our presentation is until here. And there are some tips that we just want to share. Make sure that you're not drinking with your meals. That interferes with your digestion, right? First, that liquid needs to get out of the system. If we're drinking with our meals, guess what happens? Then the food stays there, and then the stomach has to deal taking that water away. And while that is happening, fermentation is occurring because, it's just in a wet, dark warm environment, and that's how mold, occurs as well, right? Then we don't want you to eat between meals. If you eat a high fiber food, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel so satisfied that you will not feel the need of eating between meals. The other thing is that we want to recommend you not to eat your first meal after 8:30. Make sure that you're doing it prior to that. Why is that? Because research have shown that when we eat before our first meal, before 8:30, then, and this is a routine, okay, then we may avoid struggling with obesity and metabolic diseases like diabetes, okay? So, and lunch no later than 2:30 is because of the same reason. Our bodies work with metabolism, okay? And it's in the morning when it's more efficient. And then we have, make sure that we're washing our portions and that we're remembering what our goals are, okay? And also we have been told in the spirit of prophecy that even eating too much from something good and healthy can be a problem, because overloading the stomach is weakening the system. And then it takes a lot of body's energy to digest one complete meal, so make sure that you are giving those 5 to 6 hours break to the stomach do its job, and then rest. And then go to bed no later than 10 p.m. Research have shown that especially in winter time between 9 and 2 a.m. and at summertime between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. is where repair starts occurring. So if you're going to bed at 11, guess what's happening? You are losing a free blessing of getting repair, your cells repair, to get rejuvenated, right? We all want to look so shiny, beautiful, and young. Well, it's during that time that those repairs are taking place. And if we're awake during those times, then we are losing the blessing. So then these ones are just how to spend less time in the kitchen and things like that, but I think our time is really over. So, yeah. Yes, these are just using some things. So we just got it in 2 seconds. Okay, so this is it. If there is any questions or anything like that, this is Q&A. Yes, Raven.
Are you always this beautiful?
I like her. She's my friend. Yes.
I have a question about processed foods, or the removal of the bran and the germ. So you had mentioned oatmeal, but isn't oatmeal processed? And where I had read something that Ellen White ate groats, which is before all that stuff is removed, and actually it's very tasty, and I like it.
Very good question. So oats can be refined like brown rice can be refined. So if you get your oats like whole oats, you're getting your fiber. You're getting all the nutrients that is in there. Yeah. Good question. Yes, sir. Oh, the difference. The groats. These terms in English. Sorry. What is the groat? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm seeing. Yeah. The grain, and then they kind of like smash it, right? So, okay. No, there is actually, if you go to Wildwood, a store, you will see the oats that actually is been smashed. I don't know what word to use it. That actually you can see that it's whole. It's very, whole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, do you know, is that rolled oats? But I don't know these different kind of names, because there is actually, you can see, there are several kinds when they do that process that you can see is lighter, but there are ones that are really dark. So you can actually see, at least we have it in our store, that you can see that is really dark, that is just been minimally processed, we would say.
There are several people I know who have cancer, and like we were talking about different foods to eat, and you have some good ones here. But what about haystacks? Because haystacks have tomatoes, onions, beans, which are all very good for health and for fighting cancer. But what about the corn chips? Is that allowed or not allowed? Or is there something to
We
replace
pray
it
and we bless it, brother.
with? What?
That's a very good. I'm sure that everybody loved this answer. The nutritionist said that you can pray and bless it, and that's it, right? And actually, I like to tell the guests, and just let me go back to this soon, if hopefully I will not forget. Like this, let's not use presumption, okay? Like sometimes we say, I have this amount of money to buy, rice and beans, something very common, right? But I can choose to have rice and beans, or I can choose to have a pizza. But rice and beans doesn't taste as delicious as a pizza, right? So I'm going to buy the deliciously poisonous pizza, and then I'm going to say, Lord, please bless this pizza. And we even put a smile to convince God, okay? And then I just imagine God looking down and saying, what part of the pizza do you want me to bless? Maybe the highly refined crust that has no fiber, or maybe the highly inflammatory cheese. No, even better, the pepperoni. Oh no, here we're Adventists. Well, the vegan pepperoni, right? I mean, it's like, really? God blesses our efforts, right? But, let's not use presumption for that. If you have the option of only buying rice and beans, and maybe you were not able to buy organic rice, and there may be some arsenic in it, you just pray and you say, God, you have told me to eat balanced. This is what I can afford. This is not organic, but I'm going to ask you to please bless it. Do you think God is going to do that? He is. So when it comes to the tortilla chips, brother, tell that. Yeah, I don't have, yeah. Tortilla chips are vegan, right? No. As a transition, you can do it. This is my experience today. I was extremely addicted with chips. Of course, the deliciously poisonous one. And now there are other options like, have you heard of the Siete brand? That the ingredients, there is another class, about reading labels and things like that. Now, there are tortilla chips that are non-genetically modified because corn has been genetically modified. So that I do recommend you, if you ever buy corn, as much as you can, if it's possible, get it organic. If not in your possibilities, then you pray about it, and God will bless it, right? And this is not presumption in this case. But, those are one of the things that I would buy organic. So if the chips is non-genetically modified, but usually it has a inflammatory oil, which is sunflower oil, and those have been fried. So this is the complete answer. If you are really fighting cancer, guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to have that. If I'm having an autoimmune condition, if I'm really struggling with my health, guess what? I'm going to eat as much raw as I can, and as more whole as I can, and as more simple as I can, and trying to make it delicious and tasty still, okay? If you're in a transition and you are not as severe and things like that, I prefer you to go slow in your journey of having a very good, healthy, balanced meal than just to go very quickly. You are, let's say, eating from McDonald's, and now you say, no, I'm convicted. I need to eat healthy and balanced. I'm going to become completely plant-based, and you have no idea really how to do it, and you don't really even know how to cook these things. And you say, this is awful. This doesn't taste good. It lasts only for 1 week, and then you go back to your previous lifestyle. So what I would recommend in this case is, instead of eating the Doritos, right, chips, or to eat these, what are the Lay's or these barbecue chips and things like that, I will go with my, non-genetically modified tortillas, right? And as I told you, I was extremely addicted to chips, as well as extremely addicted to veggie meats, not because they were reminding me of meat, because they don't taste like that, with exception of the new ones that, that's too much. they have been doing a great job at the lab, right? With this Impossible Burger and Beyond Meat and things like that. But the ones that I was eating, it was not that, but I was extremely addicted. Guess what? Because it had 3 drugs, or they have 3 drugs that create the same chemical reaction in my brain of like, I want more, I need more of this. And guess what those 3 drugs are? Create the same thing as cocaine and marijuana, which is salt, sugar, fat. Okay? Exactly. So veggie meats are packed with that. And there is a lecture that I give that I really, we go through labels. Why do they need to be there? I don't understand that. So I was extremely addicted to those as well as chips. And today I can say I have victory over that. When there is haystacks at church, guess what? I do not take the chips. I eat the veggies, I eat the beans, and I have fun with my meals. But today I'm strong enough, and I do not take chips, right? So it depends where you are in your transition. What I would say, start where you are, be patient with yourself, but have a goal and work towards that goal. Yes.
Okay. One more question.
Yes.
This is about spices.
What color is, yeah, I mean, tortilla chips are, this one, yeah, they are green. Just.
ChatGPT says white blood cells aren't actually white, so answering that
They
one.
are transparent.
maybe, but I don't know.
When you look them in
You mentioned some spices there, and I've seen some research that says that quite a few spices, like turmeric, for example, and also other ones, some of the peppers and things are actually very good at fighting cancer stem cells. But then Ellen White says don't eat spices. So how do you reconcile
Very
that?
contradictory topic. Brother, you're eating spicy topics here, okay? After that, we need to talk. Okay, I like your question. Yes, the spirit of prophecy tells us that we shouldn't eat spices. And then research actually is supporting that. When you eat spicy food, brothers and sisters, there is it's an irritant. Basically, that's what it's doing. And when it comes to irritants, it damages what? It damages the lining of my stomach and my gut. And anything that is compromising the health of my gut, which I understand now that my immune system greatly depends on that, then I'm like, I back up. So what you're saying, yes, turmeric but at the same time, it can be very healing, and that one is not part of it. So actually, I would love if Ellen G. White would have said, these are the spices that we're actually referring to, and not, and so, yes. So black pepper, which actually turmeric, if you go to the store and they have this turmeric shot, they have black pepper in it because it helps. It's this train transport that helps to absorb it. The problem is that pepper has a side effect because it's an irritant. Now I'm having a problem because if actually pepper helps me to absorb this amazing anti-inflammatory, but actually it's damaging the lining of my stomach, what do I do? Well, our Father is amazing, and He made other foods that can be used as a transport for curcumin, which is that property that turmeric has, in order for me to absorb it. And guess what that one can be? Healthy fats. So what we do is that we give either soy milk, which is very high in fat, or we give nuts or seeds milk to it. So it's like a shot that we give that is small, and you just drink it, and you still are able to get that benefit. So yeah, when it comes to peppers, and actually Chad Cruz, I don't know if you're familiar with it, he went to our church one day, one Sabbath, and he spoke about these things and what research actually is showing about these spicy peppers and how bad they are. Yeah, I should, yeah. Maybe I can find you the video and share with you, Pastor Lee, if you are interested. I can send you the video. I need to find it. That, it refers to that. That is the other one. Have you heard of Barbara O'Neill? I mean, she loves. And she talks about that it balances a smart pepper, that it balances if you have ulcers, it helps with that. Cayenne pepper is amazing, especially when you use it as a remedy. not as a routine, not as a lifestyle, right? Because if you are having a balanced meal, a balanced diet, you are getting everything that you are needing, and you are bringing healing to your digestive system. I would use cayenne pepper as a remedy when I need it. Either if I need to, and we need to be very careful because people, like we all know, like when you're having a stroke and you put it under your tongue, like it dilates but you cannot apply that to everybody, because if the person is having a hemorrhoid, the stroke is, then you will make it worse, right? So, it's amazing. You can use it as remedy, right? So if you're making something spicy, use your garlic.
Now, because I'm obsessed with physiology, know that anything you fried is like really eating meat. So fried chips, or fried broccoli, all of that is still, that's one of the kind of the other issues where you're still hardening the arteries or thickening the blood when unnecessarily. When you're thinking about spices, all spices aren't the same. It's something when they say the word, but you got to think about it. So you have nutmeg. Nutmeg can be a hallucinogen, right? Which is good, like what she was saying, you can put in the jaw, it helps with the stroke. You can put cayenne under your tongue, and it helps with your heart. But it is imperative that it's not a continual thing. And we've been using a lot of things because it just seems so natural, but it actually is a damaging effect. It is just supposed to be for remedy-based. But like she was saying with the peppers, no, because now you're talking about literally causing destruction. Is when you want the spice and the feel and the effect, but it's causing more harm, and it's no good. So with God's remedies, it is there to help us, but there's a difference. So just the same as like teas and stuff like that. Green tea is horrific for us. Black tea, white tea, chai tea. But people say, well, stay away from teas. Well, nothing wrong with, chamomile tea,
Green tea is very helpful for fighting cancer.
I love it.
Isn't that wonderful? Or do you want me to do it? You want to do it? Okay, so here we go. So when you're dealing with green tea, you have to keep mindful that it doesn't just have technically caffeine. It actually have other names that are caffeine still. They say that. Let me explain this to you. God allows things to be, but when it's, and the man tried to say, oh, we stripped it. We stripped it, and it's like, I don't know how you can really strip it, because that's the most important aspect of it, for its own reasons. But caffeine in and of itself, even an ounce of it can start locking up your system. And that's the danger of it. So we assume that if I take it in small quantities, it's not as damaging. But even in small quantities, it can lock up the system. So the body, that energy we're feeling is really the body saying, I can't let off impurities out of the cell. And I can't get in nutrients. It is one of the most damaging things that can lock up every cell. Whereas God has certain foods that can actually go, and it'll need fats or insulin to get into the cells. With caffeine will lock them all up. It has the ability to do that, and it cuts itself in half throughout the day. And so one bit that you do in the morning can last you through the entire night. And so the danger with that is that when your body's actually trying to heal itself at night, it hasn't been shut down to be able to do that. So as much as people may say, oh, it can help with cancer, at what risk, of even causing it and causing other things as well physically? God doesn't really work that way. Right? Satan's method is to say, well, I can do one good thing as I'm stabbing you somewhere else. So that's where we want to stop and say, God has another method. And a lot of it is the self-control of, if I go to bed at night, literally around 12 o'clock, your body sends off another hormone to start healing the DNA. If it can't heal the DNA, it destroys the DNA. And if it can't, that's just to heal your body from cancer every single night. And so this is why it tells you, don't watch the TVs or don't get on your electronics so your body can shut down. When your body feels hungry at 6 o'clock, it's telling you to shut down, because the reality is it's not telling you to eat, it's telling you to stop, because it's connected to the sun already, so it knows when your melatonin to kick in, send off hormones to be able to heal the body. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, right? So in all essence, when it comes to certain things, even when they say caffeine-free, don't. It's pulling calcium from your bones. I'm telling you, processed stuff is just not good.
Yes. I love it. And you touch some aspects here about fried food and things like that. But talking about that, one of the powerful things that green tea has, or black teas and all of this, is that they are high in antioxidants. okay? And those have amazing properties to help healing cancer and diseases in general. And again, I go to, are there any other fruits or foods that they are high in antioxidants, but they don't have a side effect as what Raven was saying? Blueberries. The berries are high in antioxidant. That is why we serve it at our lifestyle center every single day, right? So yes, and what am I doing is that through food, through lifestyle, I'm bringing all of these properties that I need without having the side effect. I always go, like, yes, caffeine. I mean, if you go and research about caffeine, everything is great. I mean, it's just hard to find an article that it talks against caffeine because it's amazing. It's high in antioxidants, right? But, and I think Raven is going to sit by your side and give you a lecture. Yes.
So I just have a question. Every Sunday, I make a thing for the week. I put garlic, ginger, onion, lemon, and turmeric in this mason jar and blend it up and eat like a couple spoonfuls every day, thinking I'm helping my immune system. But do I need to be making that fresh every day, or can it last a week? I mean, the garlic, does it have an effect for the whole week? Yeah, fridge. Okay.
Now, for me, I'm from Cuba. In Cuba, well, back in the days when I was living there and I was young. Okay, I'm coming from a family where mom cooks food freshly. Breakfast, lunch, and supper all the time, right? So we were used to eat fresh food. Now, here in America, that's another story, right? Always go, 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 busy, busy, busy. Who has time for that? What I want to tell you is ideal, fresh, right? I cannot have that, meal prep. It's the same thing with meal prep, right? I prefer to have my food fresh, but maybe on Sunday I need to do my preparation for the week that I just will be warming up the food, right? So that's perfectly fine. You are doing a great job. Yeah, it's in the fridge. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I couldn't do it for a month, 2 weeks. If you can do it weekly, yeah. It is the same thing with flaxseed and chia. Ideally, you have this coffee grinder, and you put your whole flax or your whole chia right before eating your meals, and you have it there. But if you have a very busy schedule, you do a portion like for a week, for 5 days, 3 days, whatever your schedule allows you, and then you put it in a glass container. I always prefer for my meal preps, for saving things, always glass, okay? And I just have it there, ideal, fresh. I cannot have it, God is blessing my efforts. You can talk loud, okay.
People online. Oil on salad and oil in cooking.
What did you say, sorry?
Oil on salads and oil for cooking.
I love it. Okay. So actually, Raven mentioned something at some point that when you were talking about, all of these, at the end is fried food and things like that. And actually, when it comes to vegetable oils, they don't say it in the label, but guess what? They do have traces of trans fat in it. Trans fat and hardening the arteries, like they are just together. It's kind of the same, you just put it in the same word, right? So frying. Now, what is the process of vegetable? How do they make these vegetable oils? Do you think they care for your health? I mean, it's business. How can I get as much of this product as I can, right? So I can get more profit. Well, what they do is that they take these, do you take a sunflower and you press it? Oil is not going to be coming out of that, right? Of course, if you ever seen, let's say that you want to blend a little bit in a food processor sunflower seed, if you do it for a while, you will start seeing a little bit of oil coming because it's exposed to a little tiny bit of heat when it comes to a food processor. Now, what they actually do to give you these vegetable oils is that they put these seeds in this high heat process to extract as much as they can this oil. Now, the healthy structure of these healthy fats has been destroyed because it has been exposed to oil. it's been heated, right? Now, we are seeing a huge imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3, and we're consuming a lot of omega-6, which is actually mainly in these vegetable oils, right? So then this one already, the structure, the chemical composition has been destroyed. And guess what I'm going to do now? I'm going to fry with it, right? So I'm making it even more inflammatory. So that's how it goes. So I avoid as much as I don't fry. Well, I told you I'm from Cuba, and we do have the fried plantains, okay? The rye fried plantains, And then once in a long while, what we do is that we take a little time, just to coat the pan, and we will, so sinning. I'm sinning, okay? Yeah, confession time, okay? So, yeah, that's when I decide to sin. I'm sorry. Okay, but, that's a transition, right? You say, I'm not having it every day. I'm not having it every month. But when you are reminding you of this, your culture, how can I make it healthier? Okay? So on a low heat, I could add that. Do I recommend it? No. But that's something that I would compromise once in. So before getting there, so oils, what is the best oil? If you want to use your oil, then the best oil that I can suggest is cold press extra virgin olive oil. Why is that? Because have you ever juiced any vegetables? Do you see it's like the fiber is on the side, but there is pure green juice, pure vitamins and minerals coming out of that, right? So mainly that's what cold press extra virgin olive oil is. They are juicing, they are having a juicer, right, for olives, and that's the juice. That's what you are getting out of that. So and I recommend you to use it, not heated with. Just have it at the end. Let's say that you're missing so much, seeing some oil in your food. Cook your rice, cook whatever you usually cook, and then at the end, once it's cooked, you add it, so you are not changing the chemical composition of that healthy fat. So what usually do we do for salad dressings? We use healthy fats like nuts, seeds, right? Now, that's mainly the salad dressings that we give to our guests at our lifestyle center. At home, sometimes I do use cold-pressed olive oil, and I add, garlic powder, onion powder, lemon, and I may add that if I'm needing that extra fat. But usually what I do is that I have lemon juice and salt for my salad dressing, and as long as I have olives and avocados, that's more than enough for me. So you see, you just play with it. If you're tired of having, nuts, seeds, salad dressings, you can make your own, but be careful because it's been juiced, okay? The extra virgin, the cold-pressed extra virgin olive has been juiced. It doesn't have fiber, meaning that you need a lot of olives to have whatever amount of olive that you're going to put. So the calories, so if you're trying to lose weight, maybe, Avocado oil. Now, have you ever seen how they do avocado oil? Like homemade. I really like to watch these videos. They have to put it in heat, right? So now if you do it at home and maybe you're very, very patient and you do it in a very low heat, I need to try to make my own to see actually how it does. But, they put it in a pan and they start mixing, and once, it's all brown, and then you will be able to extract a little bit of that. So that's a better option, but still you're thinking of frying. It's going to be exposed to heat, like a high heat, right? So I just avoid it, and I just use more of the wholes like nuts, seeds, avocados, things like that. Is that kind of answers your question? And I think I have one here. Cold press. Mm-hmm.
To visualize, that to gain weight, just add the portion of protein. Like for, let's say, young teenage boys, and you change the diet, you eliminate a lot of the oils, and as much as they eat and you notice they start losing weight. And so I'm like, okay, I had not thought of increasing the protein, you know, more of the legumes, which is what I'm using. But what other recommendations do you recommend? Maybe smoothies with like avocados, or what else
Yes,
could
you
I
can.
do?
So definitely, they will need to have a third meal. Remember
Okay.
that we mentioned about principles, right? Ideal breakfast and lunch. But when you're in the process of growing, you need to have a third meal, definitely. Now, that doesn't mean be eating 6 times a day. In whatever meals, in the 3 meals that you're having, you're adding your enough calories. So definitely, you can add smoothies. Now, make sure that your smoothies, they are thick. Okay, it's because you still just don't want to make it very watery, because it's going to interfere with your digestion. And you know, have you ever heard of these smoothie bowls? I mean, yeah, smoothie bowls that you make like a yogurt kind of texture. It's very thick, and then you can add, you know, some nuts. You can add some granola, some fresh fruits that instead of drinking it, is forcing you to chew it. So you're aiding digestion and you're adding calories to it, right? So definitely, I would add smoothies. I would add plenty of beans, plenty of nuts and seeds. And still, you will see, because actually, I believe at Wildwood there was an experience. I heard that story, that there was a teenager that, you know, Wildwood plant-based, right? And this guy was not developing, like he was not growing. I don't know if you heard that story. And he was just not, you know, growing enough, like for his age. And then they talked to the nutritionist, and they figured out, and they realized that he was not getting enough protein. So all they had to do was just adjust the plant-based protein, and he
Okay.
it woke up, right?
Okay.
So yes, as long, I mean, because if we really think through, God didn't make a mistake. And that's what he's asking us to do. And even we see these animals, right? That they are so big, and they is only leaves. We have other options, right? So if God is asking me to do this, and I'm not seeing, that's why I said, you know, you can be vegan, you can be even on a plant-based diet, and if you don't know how to do it, you will get sick, right? So if we do it balanced, now I adjust it to my physical need. More protein, make sure that he's having his avocados, his nuts, his seeds, and his salads as well, because he will need that.
Okay. And one other question. So we're not supposed to eat between meals, but how, like when I'm cooking, I want to taste the food. It's like, how do I do that?
Yes,
You know,
you just reminded me with my dad. You know, that was before. Now I changed my mind. You know, he was asking me to cook. He eats meat, okay? So I'm like, he's in his journey, okay? That was years ago. That's the mentality that I had. And I'm like, I respect that. He's in his journey. And I was preparing meal for him. So I cooked meat for him, right? Now I wouldn't, because I know better that I'm actually feeding him inflammation. So I'm like, now I don't do that. Yeah, basically, animal products, all of them basically is like, inflammation, here we go, right? So before, what I did, he's in his, you know, not even in his transition, that's what he believes. So I do not eat meat, and I was cooking for him. Now what do? Because I want to make sure that, just by eye, sister, I'm like, you know, and then I asked him, hey, you try this and see. Now this is different, right? So it's good to have. Now at home we don't cook with recipes. Do you cook with recipes? That's our problems, right? Well, that's actually good. So you kind of have an idea. For being cooking so many years, you kind of have an idea, and that's what I do. And there are 2 options. You just cook by eye, and you kind of have an idea what is needed. And if not, what you can do is you can try it, and you just spit it out instead of swallowing it. So that's what I would do. So either of those. Raven, you want to say something?
It's going to be more than natural if he's working out. But I've also learned from all the people at Wildwood who are smaller, because we're trying to lose weight, they're trying to gain weight. If they don't work out, they actually lose weight. If they work out, they actually gain weight. And so the body is always trying to be at homeostasis. I was about to say something about the second one. What were we just talking about? Tasting the food. Yeah, the cooks would do that at Wildwood. Don't chew. saliva around, don't chew, because your body starts to know because digestion starts in the mouth, right? So it's imperative you always chew so you can get the saliva, so when it gets to the stomach, it knows what to do. But if you start, and then you want to spit it out, your stomach's already expecting it, right? So just kind of swoosh, get some taste there, and spit it out, and wash your mouth and spit it out.
Yeah, 'cause maybe what you're looking to see if it's high in salt or low in salt. Because the other seasoning, so the point, how do you call the tip of your tongue, you will be able to taste it. So and then usually that's kind of sometimes what I do. I just put it here and I'm like, yeah, yes.
Well, I really appreciate. Thank you very much, Sarai. And I really, because tomorrow she has to get up very early. Actually, Sarai, you have early session tomorrow. Now, why would and she made all the way come over here to share with us. I really appreciate that. So today's a lot to take, and but this is just a start, a beginning, So give us a little kind of like understanding, so how to start a little healthy lifestyle, So we're talking more about lifestyle. It's not only about food. It's all about to talk about mental or about physical. Also this nutrition all come together. And God is we have great God, right? He created us in a special way, and He wants us to be, so healthy, not only spiritually or physical as well. So, we have great God. Thank you very much, Sarai. And so I thank you for all that question you answer. This is just give us opportunity. We can start it too. So I know now our house ministry will be started very soon, and then it will be here in the church. We already have a group and already committed. Our sister, brother has committed. They wanted to start this journey. So basically, this is the reason why we have this whole week here. We have 12, 13 people have been faithfully attending every day, and over here they have seen the difference in that body and that way, and especially I'm so proud of those. And many of them, well, I think more than half of them, they all kind of they have to drink a coffee every day, but they stopped doing that, So one brother shared, okay, first 2 days just drowsy, come okay. I said, well, this is just addiction. Try to get away from addiction. You will have this reaction. Your body come to that time. Oh, I need this one, but you don't really need it. But I just pray for this church, okay? So thank you very much. Let's all stand up, have a prayer, and we close today's session. Okay. Lord, we thank you very much. Wow, that's what a blessing. It's a long day. So you have sent all those precious people over here to share with us, encourage us, Lord, give us way and tips, and, Lord, always point us back to what you said. God, what you said, Lord, and we just pray for strength, wisdom, and we will humbly come to you, Lord, invite you to be present in our life every day, every decision we have to make, Lord, and make our life to be a testimony and to those people around us, Lord. Every day's decision, we all can share people you are the one who has been working in our heart. Thank you very much, Lord. I will pray for Wildwood Lifestyle Center, and so many people through there. They have a passion and a heart for people over there, for ministry. So, Lord, I just pray that you blessing them and continue to lead them, Lord. And I pray for my sister Sarai and sister Raven, Lord. They're all working over there, Lord. So I know that there's a lot of sacrifice. But, Lord, I know that what their ministry is very powerful, can really reach a lot of hearts. Thank you so much, Lord. So once again, we give everyone to your hands, whoever are going to watch online, and they can all be blessed. Thank you, Lord. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for joining coming. So thank you. God bless each everyone. Thank you.